Hey guys, welcome back to Don't Wait Until You're Brave Enough. I'm Andy Martin, and this is my YouTube channel. And this is episode 2 of People Let Me Tell You About My Best Friend. I'm going to be talking a little bit more about Wes Gray and a band that he and I were in called The Movies. So the Movies came about in, I don't even know, probably late 1980, early 1981. And as I was listening to the music that I'm going to be posting, it was really interesting to think that we were actually contemporaries of like the Pretenders and U2 and all these other bands. And what's funny is that Bono and I are almost exactly the same age. So I don't know. I think that's pretty cool. Obviously, they were way more talented than I was, but that's okay. You know, it's just some of us need to be the audience, I guess, and others are the rock stars. But this was the closest that we ever came to doing something, I think, that was pretty dang cool. And I think had we been shepherded by an aggressive materialistic manager, we probably could have at least done a real album somewhere at some point. Okay, all that to say. So the Movies was comprised of myself on guitar, Wes on bass, Alan Duvas on drums. You saw him in the pictures of the flaming guitar. And then our friend Dennis Rourke was the singer. And we all brought some very different influences to this band. Dennis was really into new wave and bands like Kraftwerk and stuff that we just could not understand at all. But he sang well, and so he was going to be the singer of the group. Wes and I were more into blue-collar rock and roll. Alan, I'm not really sure what he was into. Alan was a magician, and he actually had an act called The Amazing Mystics. And he and this young lady did magic tricks, and it was actually really cool. Very good magician. All that to say is that in the spring of, I think, 1981, we went to Miracosta College, and we recorded an EP. And I'm going to show you, basically, this is a CD that I gave my son, Daniel, and I did the artwork and stuff. It's called The Movies, Coming Attractions. And from left to right, as you look at the picture, there's Dennis and Wes, and then Alan and me. And these are from our senior pictures. And so on the back, you can see basically just 5 songs. And it's a bummer because I have the actual reel-to-reel tape somewhere around here. But the first song, When Will I Ever Get Home, is a fragment because it was recorded over. And Dennis, I'm super sorry about that, but yeah. Anyway, so Dennis wrote and sang 3 of the songs, the first, the third, and the fifth. And then Wes wrote and sang the second song. I wrote and sang the 4th song. Basically, the band did all the music. I just would credit all of us for the music, but the lyrics are from those different people. I'm going to be posting a video of the full reel, and that has more information on it. So you can see it was recorded live to 2-track. We just went in the studio. We had no idea what we were doing, and we just played the way we played live. And there's so much energy. It's really very cool. And you'll hear also just the mistakes and the start overs and all that stuff. You know, again, we were young, we didn't know what we were doing, but we were sure having fun. And then this is the CD that I gave Daniel. Now, unfortunately, this CD, we're not quite sure of its whereabouts, but I'm sure it's somewhere, and at some point we'll dig it out, whatever. But so the Movies, yeah, we recorded that. We also we would play a lot at Wes's house on Ammunition Road in Fallbrook. And we got into some real weird artsy stuff. There was a song we did called The French Movie. And basically, we played whatever we wanted. I mean, literally each person, bass, drums, and guitar, were playing something different. And Dennis was kind of like reading from the dictionary and speaking in French, I think, and rolling around on the floor. It was art rock that none of our friends understood. I'm not sure that we understood it, but it was fun. Then I got a little too full of myself, as everyone will tell you, and ended up thinking that I should be the singer. And so we fired Dennis, which was really a bummer because the guy was a good friend. And we became a 3-piece, and then Alan left, so we recruited a guy named Jimmy. And so Jimmy and Wes and I were kind of a power punk trio, a la Green Day, you know, before Green Day, well before Green Day. The only time I remember us gigging was at a pool party, and there was a kegger and all that stuff, and we're playing our songs, a lot different than what's on the EP. And at any rate, I remember my good friend Wes was so drunk that I'm playing and singing, and he's missing notes, and I'm looking over at him just like yelling in between lines, you know, and he's just laughing at me. That was pretty much the end of the Movies, I think. We all just were way too into drinking and drugs and being stupid. And again, had we had that manager that could have kicked our butts and done something with us, I think we could have maybe gone somewhere beyond Oceanside, California. But at any rate, so that's the movies. We ended up breaking up after that. We did have a recording, and that's pretty much about it. So I'll be posting that also on the next episode, and then we'll get into some stuff that Wes and I are doing more modernly. So at any rate, there it is, people. Let me tell you about my best friend, Wes. So, I'm sorry, dude, if you're watching this, you're probably like cringing and thinking, oh my gosh. But at any rate, I'm trying to remember things accurately, and there it is. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoy the music.